Today on Running to Him. God protects those who are in His will. Today's reading from the reading plan is Revelation chapter 12, and we will be concentrating on verses 1 and 2 and verses 5 and 6. Revelation chapter 12, verses 1 and 2 and 5 and 6 say, "A great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and on her head a crown of 12 stars. And she was with child, and she cried out, being in labor and in pain to give birth. And she gave birth to a son, a male child, who is to rule all the nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up to God and to his throne. And then the woman fled to the wilderness, where she had a place prepared for by God, so that she would be nourished for 1,260 days." Chapter 12 declares the beginning of the end of the 7 years of tribulation. As with most prophecy, interpreting the future is difficult. We might think we have a good handle on what we see, but many times it's only after the events have happened that the prophecy becomes clear. For example, the prophecy of people dividing Christ's crucifixion garments made almost no sense when David wrote it in Psalm 22:18, and it became apparent when Matthew quoted it in Matthew 27:13. The woman pictured here has been seen as Mary, Israel, or the church. The child has been seen as Christ, the Jews, or the church. The interpretation which seems most reasonable is that of Mary and child, and indeed some questions must still be answered. I tend to lean towards Mary and Christ, but the prophecy could be about Israel and the Jews. That said, mine is only an educated guess and should not be taken as gospel. But some things are clear. Satan wished to destroy Christ and Mary when Herod set out to kill Christ. See Matthew 3, verses 16 through 23. Satan desires to destroy the Jews, as is seen as in his repeated attempts to destroy them throughout history, and he also seeks to destroy the church. Our takeaway from chapter 12 is that Satan will be cast on the earth for 3.5 years, and during that time he will attempt to destroy both the Jews and remaining believers. So what should a Christian's task be? We as believers are to remain faithful, and we are to protect the Jews. Satan attempted to kill the Jewish people by using Hitler in the Holocaust. His efforts were thwarted because Christians stood up and risked their lives by hiding and protecting them. But some, to their shame, did not. In May of 1939, 900 Jewish passengers boarded the MS St. Louis to travel from Germany to Cuba. And even though they had purchased Cuban visas, only 80 of them were allowed to leave the ship. The ship then turned to sail to the United States, and after docking in Miami, the United States government refused to allow them to disembark. And even though President Roosevelt received 2 desperate telegraphs begging them to let them in, he found it politically expedient not to enable their refugee status. Canada also refused. The ship returned to England and France, where they were allowed to disembark. Those who were forced to go to France continued to face the danger posed by the Nazis. Whether the Jewish nation is following God or not, we as Christians have a responsibility to protect each Jewish person if needed. The Jews are God's chosen people, and those who bless the Jews will they themselves be blessed, and those who curse them will be cursed. See Genesis 12:3. Thank you for listening. We pray that today's devotion was meaningful to you. We would love to hear from you. You can use either Facebook or YouTube to like, subscribe, share, and tell others about us. If you would like to contact us, you can reach me at phineasjacobus@runningtohim.net.